Hello and welcome to Nerd BS Mando Cast. As usual, I got your three amigos. I'm Alan to start off, and we got Tomas
What's up, you guys?
and Kyle over here.
Hey.
It's been far too long as we had our long break, and we actually haven't done a Nerd BS yet. We started with a Mando because that's just where it aligned. We're going to do a Nerd BS next week, and we skipped it to do Mandalorian this week. So let's move on with that. So we have our first episode, which we jumped into, was chapter 12.
Yes, this is not confusing at all. First
not
episode,
confusing. Yeah,
season
it threw
2.
Me off.
It did.
Yeah, it threw me off. I thought for sure it would start with chapter 10. It would make sense, but then I realized it was actually technically 9 is where the episode started, which threw my whole setup off. But yes, chapter 12.
And this is episode 4 of season 2.
Yeah,
we're talking about
5. Episode 5 of season 2. Because we did a one episode for the first episode.
Gotcha.
It got its own. But anyways,
that's right.
Yeah. So we start off with Mando and Baby Yoda doing some repairs before they head to Navarro, which I guess he doesn't bring up until a little later. But I don't know if we really want to focus on this too long, but I thought it was kind of cool how they were trying to working together, and he was putting him in these little tight spots that he can't reach.
I thought it was hilarious where he was trying to walk him through the steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It was ridiculous. It was cute and it was really nice, but at the same time, I started to wonder. I was like, "Who designs a ship that's like that out of reach to repair something?"
I was thinking the same thing. Like, how do you get in there? At what point? Like, even if you're landed, where are you? You had to send like a droid in or something.
It's probably
gotta be
exactly, Kyle. Like, it's probably designed so that droids can repair the ship. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. That's true. But
it was so weird.
Yeah, it was.
But it was a very cute scene, though. I think this scene just worked out because of that. It was basically a necessity.
I literally wrote is the cutest Baby Yoda episode by far, and especially when the episode goes on. Yeah, it gets even cuter.
There's even some cool stuff later on.
Well, especially like I love how they're both sipping on their coffee or their soup or whatever after Yoda's been like working in there. Like, it's been a hard day's work. Like, we gotta figure out what we're doing. Yoda's like,
It hit home for me because my 13-month-old son is literally just making noises at me, and he responds. It's like, oh man, it was just like a lot of it was very emotional for me, and I was like, this is stupid because it's Star Wars and a TV show, but it is what it is. Kids do that to you.
It links that up very nicely, especially with something that happens later. But he's definitely got this real father-son type relationship with Baby Yoda. And as we find out later, if that's a good or bad thing, we'll come to that. But we move on to a really cool scene, bringing back Cara Dune back into the mix, which I thought was really cool because you kind of go in and you see these Aqualishes.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Yeah, it's the same race as Ponda Baba, which is the Aqualish from Mos Eisley Cantina.
Oh yeah,
who does not like Luke Skywalker.
That's that. Okay,
fan.
Yeah, that was the connection.
Yeah.
I was saying that I was telling Tomas that it was. I just call him Butt Cheek Face. That's what his name has been to me.
I've always heard Walrusman. Yeah.
Walrusman.
Actually, you know what I picture when I see them? Remember, like how the big spiders look in Hobbit and Lord of the Rings? They have their two little mandibles and those big eyes, but they don't have multiple eyes. So yeah, I mean,
I see. No, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Right beforehand, did you guys see the Fringe logo in the top of the little hideout? It looked like there was something there that was ripped down.
No, I didn't see
No,
that.
As
no,
the
I did
camera
not.
was going in. It was right above the door. The camera goes in. You could see the Fringe logo outline, like it was there and now has been removed.
Hmm.
So it made me wonder because that's the same symbol that was on Boba Fett's armor, and it's universally known as like the Fringe symbol, which is like
it's that
the
dragon,
outlaw.
right?
Yeah, it's like a drag. It's supposed to be like a crate dragon skull looking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that.
No, I
Yeah, it's
actually
just
do remember that now that he's talking about it. I do remember seeing that and being like, "Oh, that's like Boba's."
yeah, exactly. I just thought it was kind of cool. It's just sitting there, but we get a really cool scene with Cara Dune fighting off those bandits. I'm not.
Yeah,
I guess she's a marshal now. That's what kind of clicked that. I thought she was doing mercenary work, but I guess she's a marshal now, and she's basically getting their goods back. Um, and there's a little creature, the little puppet, which I thought was really cool. But if you actually stayed for the credits, he's like breathing fire.
Yeah, I
Which
saw
I don't,
that.
maybe they could, yeah, maybe they couldn't get it in there or something.
I
But I
Yeah.
was like really curious about that.
it probably wasn't necessary. Wouldn't have added anything to the episode. It was already
No,
jam packed, so they probably just cut it.
I do like, and we've said this before in earlier episodes, but season 1 did not have this much puppetry, and I like that they're adding
no,
this much puppetry into it again because, like I said before, it really shows an homage to the first 3. Like, I really
I
think
love
it
it.
does.
I don't think there's this much puppetry in the first 3. Like there was some large scale puppetry, but I don't think there was any small scale puppetry that we've been getting. We've been getting a lot. This is starting to feel like
You're
freaking
talking
Dark
about
Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
uh,
all the little puppetry.
yeah, you're talking about the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first 3 movies. Sorry, the movies.
Oh, the
themselves. I don't think
movies.
there's.
Themselves,
Yeah, I don't remember there being
Well,
this much puppetry in the movies.
I mean,
Well,
if
small
you
scale, like large scale.
There were
If-
moments. Yeah.
if you oh, I see the small scale. I was gonna say if you count Jabba, like he's like one
Yeah, like
giant.
Jabba, and you have like the Ewoks, like are partial. There's a lot of little puppetry, but I just feel like they're really jamming a lot of little puppetry here
Well,
and there.
I was
Which
thinking
is really
about this
cool.
too. I was thinking about this too. There's there's a point I was gonna make at the end, which I'll save. But that the budget went up for season 2
Oh
because
yeah,
season
you're
1
right.
did so well. So that I'm really glad that they went for, like you guys said, the puppetry, especially the smaller niche stuff that you guys and I love. So that's probably a big reason why it's like let's just throw in more puppetry because we got the budget for it, and it's you don't have to have a lot of people on screen for it.
Yeah, you can now,
Exactly.
so let's do it.
Yeah, it's really nice. I really enjoy it. But we move on to them landing, the Mando and the child landing on Navarro. I don't know why, but when they landed, it for some reason it gave me Spaceballs flashbacks. I just realized that the ship, the Razor Crest, kind of looks like an altered Winnebago in a weird way. I don't know. Maybe it's my Spaceball memories coming back, but it really looks very similar.
I will always see that now. You've planted that seed, but it does.
Is it just like it's like a rectangle? It just has the 2 wings.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
I can't
it's
deny
just
it
a little
now.
side note. But they get off and they see their friends, Cara Dune and Gareth Karga from the season 1, and obviously Gareth has offered to repair Mando's ship, and so they take off and go into the town. But as we're leaving, we see this little alien there, looking pretty shifty. I had bad feeling about him from the beginning. I don't know about you guys.
No, I
but he
did
just
too,
looking back.
especially with the way he was just focused on Mando. I was like, why is he staring at Mando?
Yeah,
Like,
there's something going on here.
Wait,
It was
the
guy's
it
gonna
was one of the
repair
repair,
it. You
one of
know?
the repair aliens. Yeah. Uh, so we
oh
we
yeah,
move on.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so we move on and we see. I just saw some Jawas in the corner. I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if you guys saw the Jawas over
I
there.
did, man.
Just kinda,
You watched it twice, which I
yeah.
regret. I regret watching it so late, even though I just watched them. But I think you
Yeah.
get to catch those things that I did not see.
Yeah, I didn't see it the first time the Jawas, but there was just like two Jawas hanging out, and I was like, "Hey, Jawas! That's weird that they're on a different planet besides Tatooine." Hey, interesting. They migrate too.
I love, like, right off the bat, they developed the characters of the show the proper way. It's the best way to do it. So Grief, Karga, and Cara Dune, like, you don't have to go in the you don't have to spell it out for the audience. You know, they say it in their conversation, like, "Oh, Kara has cleaned up the city because she's marshal now, and I've been
Mhm.
doing clerical work," is what he said. And it's like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
we get it. We don't have to go into this like big old montage, and they don't treat us like we're idiots, you know, like where
Yeah.
they just blatantly write it out and spend too much time on it. So it's just a proper way to develop characters in a TV show. Like, okay, they've grown.
It's a good quick way to just lay it out in front of you without giving you a whole bunch of story to get lost in and drag it out and stuff. Yeah, it's just nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. It definitely works well too because they haven't seen each other for a little bit, so updated him, and as well us really quickly, which was
Yeah,
nice.
it's just, and it's a good way to do it. I love it. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
they drop off
Yeah, so they drop off the child
Yoda,
there. Yeah,
baby Yoda,
and
which
Baby
is
Yoda.
again one of the cutest scenes in the whole show.
Yes, I loved this. How he wanted those cookies. Those cookies, they look like macaroons. They look
Yeah,
delicious,
they
and
did.
this kid
Yeah, they
was
did.
not going to share
They're
them.
totally made with Bamfa milk, dude. Come on.
I
I
very
didn't think about
possible.
that. Oh, so
Yeah, I didn't think
clever.
about. Yeah, I didn't think about that either. But they look delicious. The child wanted some, and there was just a little fun interaction between the two as he says no, and Baby
Yeah.
Yoda uses his force powers to get himself some cookies. So
Again,
innocent and fun.
yeah, very innocent and cute, and this the noises. And again, with my own son, if he could channel the force, he would be eating cookies nonstop because he'll stretch. He will literally stretch his arm out and make those noises. And it's like, well, thank God he can't, because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
still you're done eating, you know, and we move the cookies away.
I didn't even think about that, but that does look very. That does reminisce me of my son as well. Like that's the same thing. That's what babies do all the time. They're like reaching out for things that they
Yeah.
want because they can't say it
Yep.
exactly.
Oh
But
gosh, yeah,
it's so yeah, that works really well.
that was a great little scene.
So then we move on. They leave the baby there because where they're going, there's the baby would be in danger. So it's best to just leave him where he is. And we see our buddy Mithril from season 1, who was what I think it was Mando's first capture, right?
Yeah, I think it was like the first episode.
Yeah, I think it was the first episode captured him.
I have to know. So, guru of races over here, Alan. What race is this?
I don't know. I didn't look it up either.
It's a new one. It's a new one.
Yeah, I think it's a new one because I didn't even think to look it up. I usually only look up ones that I recall, and I can't think of the name or how to spell it. I think it is a new one. I think Kyle may be right because it's very unique. He has some sort of moisture issue where he's afraid of getting dehydrated.
That's a really, it sounds so terrible. I also have a moisture issue. It's called I sweat profusely.
But anyway, so simple plan. They need to go up to this empty base. They don't want this space on their planet. It's an Imperial base, and so it's an empty base. They're just gonna go
Yeah.
sneak in, blow it up, and leave. Simple.
Supposed to
Simple.
be, it's basically empty, you know. That's what
Yeah.
that's what Mando is told. It's basically empty.
Yeah. So so we find our way heading there, which I thought was interesting as he tells them that he has this long debt for him. It's like 300 something years. It's something crazy long. But as they're going, he's just knocking off years. Like first it's 100 years.
I know,
just to take
right?
you there. And then it's like 30 years. And I'm like, dang, he's being super liberal giving this up. I mean, I guess that shows that Karga's a nice guy, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because it seems like every time he's getting in danger, he's knocking off more. Well, he only does it twice, but still.
Well, he
I just
doesn't
thought
do
that
it
was
at the very
interesting.
end. He doesn't do it when he forces him
No.
to do the very last thing, which is probably the most dangerous thing.
Yeah.
But if I was Mithril or Mithros, sorry, Mithril. if I was Mithras, I would be stoked if he said, "Yeah, I'll knock off 100 years if you just drop me by the door." Okay.
Yeah, it sounded like a pretty
he
good
kind of
deal.
was. But I mean, that's when he like you said, he asked, or like, what's the other option? It just shows his character that he's more willing to weasel his way out of any kind of danger than take off even 100 years of debt. Which it just sounds like he has probably like an infinite amount of debt that he's never going to be able to pay off. Is what it sounds like.
Well, he said it at the beginning, and I should have wrote it down, but it was over 300 years. It was like 300 something years.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird because Karga looks human, and the average human lifespan is, under 100 years, roughly. Maybe in Star Wars. I've never really thought about how long they live in Star Wars, but I'm assuming it's around 100 years. Now, Mithras.
Everything that they show you through everything that I have seen and stuff, it seems to me that humans live at the longest maybe into their hundreds, but that's still rare.
Yeah, it seems about average lifespan that we have, maybe a little longer. But I'm assuming Mithril has a much longer lifespan, so maybe it's like indentured servitude where it'll go into his next of his son or something. Either way,
maybe.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter that much.
No. I wanted to ask you guys
so-
something though. Kind of with this crew they got going. I just noticed it for the first time. Does Cara Dune have a rebel tattoo under her eye?
Yeah.
Is that what that
it's
is?
like a teardrop, but it's a rebel symbol.
It's a
really
gangster rebel.
Yeah, that's what I always every time I've seen it, it looks like a teardrop, like a gangster teardrop symbol, but it's like a rebel. It's like a little rebel symbol.
That teardrop for if you killed somebody,
She killed a bunch of people in this episode. So
yeah, I mean, she's obviously earned her rebel drop.
Yeah. I never noticed it before. I didn't. Anyways, it was. I guess they zoomed in on it this time.
Yeah, they did zoom in on. Seem to zoom in on it more, but I did remember it from the first season. It's always been kind of her thing. But anyways, we go into the this empty Imperial base that we find out that is just chock full of troopers, and we have a whole sequence of them running through, turning off the generator or the lava thing, whatever it is, reactor. And then trying to leave. Yeah. And we see them walk into that one laboratory, which was interesting, and immediately the person, as he sees them, destroys it. Like there's something there that he does not want them to know about. I don't know if you guys they did. So I couldn't figure out. Clones. They look kind of like Snoke. That's a couple things I got.
What I thought.
They're obviously using. Yeah, they're obviously using Baby Yoda's blood. They said that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other crazy theories? That's kind of what I got.
This is what I got from like seeing the tubes and hearing the stuff about Baby Yoda and hearing the thing about how the host rejected the blood and stuff like that. What I'm understanding is I feel like they're injecting these things that are in the tube with Yoda's blood, and I do not think that they are natural. I think they are clones. Because you can't transfer. At least I was under the impression you couldn't transfer midichlorians just by getting some blood from a Jedi and putting it in yourself. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure entirely how it would work. I've heard in weird things in Legends where they've talked about it here and there. And in Legends, I know that the Emperor was cloned multiple times, and his body, kept getting the midichlorians and everything. I do know they said I did count that they said M count or M count is what they called it.
Yeah. Yes.
Count. Obviously midichlorians. I figured that. I don't know. So I'm assuming that I guess we're all kind of on the same page where we're assuming they're creating some sort of Jedi or trying to create a Jedi or Sith or something, Force user.
Well, here's my thing about it, though, and I guess Alan kind of put his opinion in the ring with that. But I was curious, who are the clones of? And my instant response was, these are clone troopers. Alan, I guess you think that they're Emperor. But I thought they were
No.
clone
That's
troopers.
something in Legends. I'm just saying
Oh,
cloning Force users in Legends was possible.
oh.
So I'm not
Well,
sure. So
I
that's what I'm
thought
saying.
I thought they were clone troopers that they were trying to
It's
clone
possible.
because of what happens towards the end. What Moff Gideon says,
Yeah. Uh, So that's another thing we found out. We found out that Gideon's alive, or they find out Gideon's alive. We already knew that as the audience, but now Mandalorian knows that Gideon has survived his brief crash in the season 1, and then they decide to destroy the place, get the information, and then take off. So they go out to the deck. They do all their stuff in there and do their chase scenes. It's really fun. We get out to the landing bay where they see that crazy looking speeder. Uh, Hijack the speeder. Mandalorian takes off. We're not sure where he goes.
He gets to get the child.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he said I don't remember exactly what he says, but he said basically I'll be right back or something.
Well, Kara tells him it's faster to jet, and he goes, "Yeah."
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
He said, I have to get the child, and she says, jet back, it'll be faster, and we'll catch up to
Yeah.
Oh, how did I miss that twice? But anyways, all right.
I don't know.
Okay,
That
let's
was-
keep this on. But anyway, so what I guess I was more drawn to when they grab that speeder and they're like immediately try to drive to the reactor. It's like, where are you going?
Yeah, I don't know what the
Obviously
plan
the
was
door's
with that.
Yeah, talk about short term. I mean, let's get away from the
Yeah.
blaster fire, but let's drive into the reactor. Thank God that door shut.
I don't know. Maybe there was another exit there, to get that thing down onto the ground that we didn't see.
I mean, I guess there had to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Well,
but it seemed to work out.
I feel like she purposely whips it around though, because she gives like kind of a smile and smirk when she like speeds it up. And
she was gaining some speed. Yeah.
And what I thought was great though was when the troopers go to chase them with the speeder bikes, and like right off the bat, they
probably
lose
my
two.
best scene.
They crash into each other. Yeah,
I know it was so anticlimactic. I was so excited because it looked just so cool. That's probably my favorite scene right there. Is where they're just jumping off. It's great CG. I was like, man, this is really kick butt as they're flying down the hill, and then immediately two of them get destroyed, and I'm just like, oh, that ended that.
Well, my thing was like, okay, you know how we've all talked about stormtroopers and their aim before, but so my thing was like, we watch how these people, even Mythos or whatever his name is, kills stormtroopers and stuff like that, and none of them hit him or anyone else, right? And then you see these guys on the bikes come out.
They hit Mando.
Well, they because they can, but I do love how like when the bikes came out, I was like, oh, okay, so that was just the crappy troopers. These guys are going to be the good troopers, and then like Alan said right off the bat, it's like boom. Like, oh, really?
I did think they were cool. It did give me my nostalgia bubbles as I saw those speeder bikes because of the same style.
Oh man,
on Endor. So that was really cool.
Oh yeah, that was that whole scene, man, was like better than.
It was really good.
You're not going to beat the original trilogy as just like like you said, nostalgia, because it created that nostalgia feeling with the speeder bikes. But the action they do is just like they do it so well, and they honor the stories that have been done before with like the technology and everything. And you're like, this is Star. Now this is pod racing, is what I wanted to say. That's, but like, it's such a good scene.
Also,
it is a great scene.
Just to me, the whole chase, and then when Mando comes in with his Star Razor, and the dog fight, I was just like, I love that dog fight. I was
One thing I pointed out is apparently not only are the stormtroopers a bad shot, but Karga is a pretty bad shot as well. I mean, he couldn't get.
You're right. I thought honestly, at first, I thought he was doing something on purpose. I was like, oh, he's going to cave in the mountainside, and I was like, oh no, he's just sucking. He's sucking, and it's like good, as he should.
Yeah, even Kara's like, what's going on back there? And he's like, you want to get back here? I mean, you want to take this over?
Yeah, but like to me, the difference between him and a stormtrooper is the stormtrooper does this professionally. He doesn't do this professionally. Like, although I will
you're
say,
not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I will say though, the pilots obviously had a bit more. They were far more threatening. But yeah, when he comes in with that Star Razor, oh my word, and takes down those last two, I was just like, that's really a moment to remember.
So I kind of want to bring this up a little bit. What's with the folding tie wings now? I mean, it used to not be a thing, and now it's like I see it here. I think it was in the new trilogy as well, and I think I've seen it in other episodes of Mando. But it's just maybe in Clone. Yeah, I think I saw it in Clone Wars too. Not Clone Wars. It was in Rebels. I think it was in Rebels.
Yes, you're right. Rebels.
But still, it's just really compared to when we saw the original trilogy, which they just kind of landed flat without any movement. These ones have this weird folding mechanic, which makes a ton more sense because the old way they had to have that ladder, which they would use, but now they probably still need some sort of ladder, but it's much easier, much shorter of a distance.
And you don't have to store the storage space. It's just
much
way
smaller,
better.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
To me though, they're like the TIE Fighter 2.0, right? We're just seeing the Empire get better and better,
Yeah. So we talked about Mando coming in for the win. That whole thing was amazing. I loved the spinning. I loved how Baby Yoda got sick and it was like having fun and then threw up cookies.
Yeah.
I loved how Mando even took time to turn around and wipe him off. Like afterwards, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous," but at the same time, so precious.
Well, yeah, like you said earlier, he's becoming more like a father. Like, he would have never really cared before, but now it's as again pointing back to my own life. It's like, I've literally had that happen in the car. It's like, okay, I gotta hold on. I gotta reach back. He's got puke everywhere.
I'm at the stoplight. Let's see if I can wipe this off real quick before you make a bigger mess.
Exactly.
Well, where I really think it started to change too is when Yoda lost the little carriage that he was in, and Mando actually had to carry him everywhere and stuff. I
didn't think about that.
I think from that episode on, you see Mando starting to have way more of an attachment to him. Like,
I think it was last episode.
No.
He lost it, right?
It was
because he had it with the fish. Yeah.
Yeah, but he lost it with the fish, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that was
when he lost it. Yeah. I'm sure that was last episode.
Big scary fish. Yeah. I think that it was one previous.
Anyways, okay. But yes, he's got an attachment, but yes, holding him is probably giving him more of a connection. Yes, I agree. But yeah, so we finish with that. They take off because they say, well, if Gideon knows we're here, once Gideon finds out, he's going to become looking for us. So we got to leave now. We don't have time to sit around and have drinks with you.
Kumbaya with you suckers. Yeah. I'm out of here.
So we get the same officer, which they call him. So you can tell this is more of a police officer now than a rebel fighter, as he's kind of questioning Karga, and he's giving him the runaround.
They call him Blue, right? Didn't they? Kara calls him Blue.
That's what Kara calls him.
Yeah, Kara calls him something. Yeah, I guess Kara Blue. I didn't. Is it Blue? Okay, I guess I missed that.
Yeah, she says. Says, "I'm not much for joining teams or something like that." Blue, like something like that.
But
not a joiner.
I'm not a joiner. But we find out that she's from Alderaan, which is interesting. And
see, again,
good job in the Republic.
Character development done well, because now it's like, okay, what attachment does she have to that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and now there's this temptation to help again, and the badge is like,
Yeah.
it's just great. So like, and she's
She's
been a
already a
great
marshal.
character.
Yeah.
Well, that
Mhm.
was kind of my question though. Is that a badge or is that a medal for her service? Because he remarks about how well she served.
So originally, I thought it was weird that they would give that, but where I work, we have a lot of young Marines that come up, and one thing they do a lot is they give these coins, and they're very nice coins, and they have them to give out to people. So that was reminiscent of that to me. It's like a little gift you give to somebody, and so
Or
that's
like
what I think it was.
something they
It's like,
did or do or are going
yeah,
to do.
something it's usually it's usually like an acknowledgement of something. Uh, like either you've helped them in some way. So I think that's related to that. I don't know what it's called, but he gives her this coin, which is basically telling he told her about the job, and this is also his respect for her because of the things he's heard,
And then
which I thought was really
he opened up a 40 and poured it out for the homies.
for the all the Ranian homies. Uh, anyways, but we end on they're finding out the Razor Crest is being tracked by that
Yeah.
sneaky alien.
Uh,
Uh, Now, at the end of the episode, I know you said clones, but what I got, and I think Kyle recognized these Dark Troopers. They looked exactly like Dark Troopers from Dark Forces and Star Wars
yeah.
Galaxies, which is
gonna
a
say,
real deep callback.
I was first thought of the Death Troopers from Rogue One,
Yeah,
which
I did think that too, but I think these ones looked a little bulkier and a little more
yeah,
robotic.
yeah. Either way, it was just really cool to be like this. This is going to be great. Whatever
Yeah,
plays
what's
out.
happening next?
And man,
So I'm excited.
what's the actor's name that plays Moff Gideon? Because he's like
Ooh,
just
I
a
don't know.
He is a
what
good actor.
15 seconds he was there. He's like stole the show for me. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yes, he was in. I know he's in Breaking Bad, and he was amazing in Breaking Bad. So
and
he's
he's
doing
going to
great
be
here
in the
too.
I think he's going to be in the new Far Cry game.
Yeah, new
Really?
Far Cry game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's
So
great. I need to learn his name.
yeah,
Mm.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I remember him a lot. But I guess, since we're at the end, I will say a little bit of respect for Gene Guy, who blew up all over the internet, who they've actually removed from the
Oh, did
episode.
they?
If you watch the
Oh,
episode today, he is no longer there. It was actually
oh,
pretty difficult to see him. I missed him. My
yeah.
first watch. He wasn't there this time. But if you look for pictures, you can see him, and it's during the firefight with Mando, Kara, and Karga. When they're in a hallway and a doorway, and you can just see a little man or a guy in the corner. You just see his
Stagehand.
jeans. You just see his jeans just poking out.
You see
So
quite a
respect for
bit.
him.
I saw
Yeah,
the
it's
image of it. Yeah,
so there was an image circulating that was a more cleaned up shot. That looks like somebody had cleaned it up more.
yeah,
But
it's
the
great.
majority you see of the show was there was a lot of blast fire, so it wasn't as easily noticeable. But he has been removed, stricken from the episode.
There's been a huge demand that he be put into the Star Wars game I played, the Galaxy of Heroes. Gene Guy is the new
They
character
should.
that we
Like
all
he should
need.
be awful, but people will use him as a meme, so that would be
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
oh yeah.
So we all watched this
Nice.
39-minute episode. It was a great adventure. Kyle, what would you rate this chapter 12 episode?
Yeah. So, what are we doing it out of again? I
Out of
forgot.
10. Out of
Out
10,
of
no
10.
decimal.
Okay, because I almost did it out of 5. So it's a great. It was probably the best episode thus far in the season. Up until that point. Um, and after kind of a lull of a couple episodes where they're just, you're developing Mando and the child and learning about the other Mandalorians. It was just a great upper. Like it was like, okay, this is the action we've been wanting. Familiar characters. We don't have to do all this backstory. So on that note, I would rate this one. I'd give this one a 10. Like this one was just
10?
so fun. Yeah,
Better than
like
the first one, huh? Because you get the
yeah.
first one a
Oh
9.
yeah. It was definitely better than the first one for sure.
Oh, that's a pretty big accomplishment for chapter 12. Tomas, what do you think? What would you rate it?
That is a pretty impressive accomplishment because I actually rate it about a 9. So I really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong; it was a great episode. It definitely put some questions in there for answering later. But me personally, to watch the Mandos work together and to watch this team work together, I loved watching the Mandos work together way more. When the Mando was by himself during this scene, it stole the show for me. Like when he was fighting by himself and dogfighting, it blew everything else that had happened in the fight before out of the water. So I rated about a 9. It was good action. It brought in a little bit of mystery, which I liked, but overall it was still a filler to me, getting the ship repaired to move on.
Yeah.
Okay. And a
Yep.
9 and a 10. This is ranked pretty high for you guys. I'm actually surprised, and I'm going to have to come in here as the underdog, surprisingly. I'm usually higher than you guys, but this time I'm going to go with an 8. I don't think it's as good as the last episode, and I definitely don't think it's as good as the first episode. So I gave it about an 8 out of 10. I thought it was fun. It was perfectly fine. Definitely better than episode 2 or I think it's episode 10, but not as good as last episode, and definitely not as good as the first episode. So I would give it 8 out of 10. So interesting.
Yeah.
Any
Alright.
final comments on 12 before we move on?
Yeah, I could see both of you guys' point of view. I really liked the chemistry with this team more than the Mandalorians, Tomas, even though the Mandalorians were cooler to watch, if that makes sense. I think the chemistry was already there from the first season with these characters, which to me, that's why it made it so good, because you didn't have to explain everything and figure stuff out. You're like, okay, this team is working together. And yeah, it is a filler episode, but it also moved the story along quite a bit when we learn about Moff. We kind of a lot of us knew about Moff Gideon, but that was a big churn.
Yeah.
So
You make a lot of valid points, and I think kind of what has to do that, because I know you haven't watched a lot of the Clone Wars and Rebels, and I think that may bleed into this opinion because you're not as attached as to Bo-Katan and the Mando Squad as I know I am, so that probably doesn't help.
And me as
but
well.
I do agree with you, though. I didn't even think about that as deep as this is the crew that this show has created. I mean, this is our crew we've had. So this makes a lot more sense for that.
Yeah. And as Kyle said, I agree with him, as he kept pointing out in this episode. This episode was told very well. The story was told constantly very, very well.
Yeah. You know who directed it too, right? It was Grief Karga himself. Carl Weathers directed that episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course. The one he's in, he's going to be like screen time for me. No.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah,
really
because
cool.
it pops up right away at the end, and I always look to see who directs them because it's usually different. But on a whole different note, before we go on to the next episode, when Bluegill's guy goes to turn down the coolants, he mentions this, and I think that, like, Family Guy talks about it, but nowhere else in Star Wars do they mention it. It's like, there's no guardrails. There's no guardrails on this horrifically dangerous platform.
I didn't write that down, but yes, I did catch my ear every time. There's no guardrails, and they say that they do say that in the Family Guy specials. They talk about that all the time. It's a safety hazard. Why is there no guardrails?
Why is there? Why does no one talk about it either? Like, and why are they putting it on the backside of these? Yeah, it's.
I do hope too is like they're sitting like right next to the laser, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Just like
going by their face, the laser that blows up planets. They're like, this is my day job.
They gotta come.
Radiation.
They have to come home. Like half of their body has to be like black from just the constant heat.
Oh my! All right.
Good little touch.
Great note to end on. Let's move on to Chapter 13, The Jedi. And this is the one I know I was excited for. Really excited for it. And I didn't even think about this, but we'll get that to it. Well, I guess it's right at the beginning. We're on Corvus. We see Corvus. Corvus. We see Ahsoka looking bad A. Oh man,
Orvis.
she was so fun watching that with
Oh
freaking
man.
those lightsabers, those white lightsabers. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, they look
because
so clean.
I don't know the full story of Ahsoka Tano, but I know it's the word fulcrum is on the video game I play. There's two versions of her, like the young one, and then she goes to like a Jedi or not master, but Jedi Knight. I'm assuming is what that
Yeah.
means, and that's when she gets and she's a good character too on the game, by the way. But yeah, those
Oh, I bet.
lightsabers and the noise they make. Because so I watched it in
Mhm.
headphones with the sound
Oh yeah.
cranked, and it was I got chills from it. I was like, it was right out the gate. We're not gonna beat around the bush. It's called the Jedi. You're gonna get a Jedi in the opening
Oh
scene.
man.
Like, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Well, okay, here's my thing. I am curious how Saber I'm curious about how Saber colors work now, because what I heard from, if I remember correct, what I heard now in canon is if I correctly, all the Saber colors are 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 different, right? But you can change a color by putting emotion into it, or they have no color until you put emotion into them, or something like that.
No, saber colors
Crystals.
are still crystal based. The what you're thinking about is in the Vader comic. To get a red lightsaber, you have to make the crystal bleed by breaking it, and it's essentially breaking it with your raw emotion.
Okay, so every other color is actually part of a crystal. It's only
Yes,
red that you have to break.
it's red. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
it's like a weird bond.
All right.
Like they have a whole tradition with with the comic I read where you basically have to kill a Jedi, take the crystal, and then uh, force it to become that color.
Oh, okay. Because
But
I was
This all has huge gang implications. Again, with a tattoo on Cara Dune's face, and now you have to go prove yourself by killing someone, and you get your blood crystal from that. Like I didn't know
yeah,
how deep this went.
yeah, I was reading the Vader comics for a while. They did a whole thing on it. It was actually really cool.
Nice.
But yeah,
because my thing that was kind of like bugging me, and I was trying to figure out. So I'm glad you explained that to me, because I was watching it going like, okay, so what does the white mean? Does the white mean that she's like that good, or does it mean that she just doesn't care?
no.
Or like,
Um, she got them from somewhere, and I think I know where, but I have not read the Ahsoka book. I have it, and I need to read it. There's a Ahsoka novel. Well, she gets it because she gets blue ones at the end of Clone Wars, and then she gets white ones before Rebels. So at some point in between, she gets.
Again, I don't know. You guys know more about her because you've seen the show, and like you said, there's a whole novel that you could read about her.
Yeah,
But I think you were hinting at it, Tomas, that it does represent her. She's a little neutral,
she is.
because
Yes.
she's a little bit neutral in regards of like where her alliance is. She's obviously good. A good character on the
yeah.
light side, but it's she walked away from the Jedi Order, as far as I know,
Yeah.
or at least
Mhm.
from Anakin, and it's addressed in this episode a little bit, and I feel like just her as a character with Rosario Dawson playing her was
Yeah.
done so
Yeah.
well, and I don't know how you guys felt, but I was just
Yeah,
like
no.
blown away. Like they did it right.
I don't think I know there was talk of another person doing Ahsoka, which was her voice actor, and that probably would have turned out great as well. But now that I've seen uh, Dawson do it, I don't see anyone else in the role now.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed Rosie Dawson's portrayal. She was fine. She did a good job. My only big complaint about it, and it's very minor, is her Leku. I think they're called. They seem short.
You said big
I did say
complaint
big,
and then
small. I
minor.
know. Small complaint is the Leku, as they seem really short and stubby.
I
Uh,
have heard about this. Yeah,
but it makes sense because they want her to move well. And I think if
yeah.
they made it too massive, like that, there was Jacques T in the
Oh
the
gosh.
prequel trilogy,
Yeah.
it would have been very difficult for her to
And
do a lot
I
of the stuff
think
she
I
was
think
doing.
it's heavy. I really think it's heavy on
Yeah,
your
I'd
head.
imagine it was. That's what I'm saying.
and like you could easily write that off as like, hey, when you get older, you lose a little bit of your hair, right? So as you get older, they start shriveling up.
Maybe.
With them, it's supposed to be the other way around. It's supposed to get bigger. It's just supposed to constantly get bigger. Like the older you are with their race, it's supposed to be bigger. But I can see what you're saying though.
Here's the thing: the stress of her life, though, is
Yeah.
like you could easily write that out, and it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know if, like you said, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
It's not that big of a deal to you, but yeah, I didn't
She
notice.
plays the part very well. I really missed Ashley. I would have loved for her to have been there and been a part of that character because of how much time and effort she's put into that character. But Rosio did wonderful, and I'm not going to complain that she's there. And like I've said in the past with Rosario, sorry.
There you go.
But like I said in the past with Solo, you have to be able to adapt letting other people play specific characters because sometimes certain people can't play those characters forever. So
Well,
Yeah,
she's
also,
great.
Good point.
so
point.
here's my question with you, because in that first scene, we see her use, of course, force speed, but is she masking herself somehow with the force, or is that just the mist? Because like it seems like the mist vanishes and then conceals her, and then vanishes and then conceals
It's
her.
possible. It's possible. I didn't think about it that way, but it's very possible. I just assumed she used it to her benefit. But I
Okay.
mean, it's very
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She definitely used it to her benefit. But if you think about what we've seen in the movies, you said there's force speed, so she could be using that, or a mixture of like what Luke Skywalker did with a projectile like person of
Oh,
himself.
maybe, yeah.
And it's like it's pretty much in limitless at this point, as long as she's still training and developing her skills.
yeah. I'm a little hesitant to think that she's on that level, but yeah, like you just said, anything's possible. I don't know.
Like, well, that's
Uh,
why I also said as long as she's training and developing, in
yeah,
the meantime, because I mean, even Luke was able to do it, and he had rejected
you kind of
the
retired for a
Jedi.
while.
Yeah, so but he was a master, so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But
it was
anyways,
really
we've
cool
had our
to watch.
Ahsoka discussion. Yeah, it was really cool. We've had our Ahsoka discussion. We needed that. I was going to wait till the end, but that's perfectly fine. But we get a little call back to Yavin as we see Mando fly in. Oh, I guess we should say that Ahsoka kind of asks for some information from this leader. Another thing I noticed that we called out a couple episodes ago, how they gave away people's names with the subtitles. This episode didn't. It never
Yeah,
said this leader's name.
they
No,
fixed it.
I'm pretty sure they wanted to reveal that, and so they made sure that the captions were edited out. Yeah.
Yeah, they like because I agree, because even like you said, I didn't realize they took out Gene Guy from the last episode. They were
Yeah.
If they're able to do that, you can definitely edit the captions and be like, hey, don't spoil, like a lot of people use captions, so don't spoil it for them.
Exactly, because I use them because sometimes people talk low for some reason, and I just want to be able to read what they say
Or
and then
something
catch it.
might be happening. Like my TV is next to my window, and if a car comes by really fast, it's
Yeah, I
Also,
don't have that
like
problem.
it also describes like noises or something that I don't always
Mhm.
hear. So like, if like a character turns around all of a sudden, I'm like, well, what the heck happened? It's like, oh, because they heard rustling, and it actually displays it on the captions. Like, oh, I can't hear that because I'm watching it basically on mute sometimes with a
Yeah,
sleeping
with the
child.
baby.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she asking for some info from the leader. The leader will not
Mhm.
comply. She's even willing to sacrifice people, as many as necessary, basically, for her to leave. But Ahsoka gives her 1 day to decide to make a decision.
I love
And then we
that.
see Mando fly in. Yeah,
I
that was
love
really
I love that
cool.
she made a demand. Like,
Yes.
it wasn't totally one-sided.
Mm-hmm. And then we get a callback to Yavin as Mando flies in, as we see the little guy with the radar gun. I mean, it's obviously the same guy, but the New Hope, you get that little guy with the radar gun, just like
Oh
scanning it
man,
as it's coming in.
I totally missed that. I didn't even catch that. I must have
Yeah, you
turned
get
away or
a
Yeah,
something.
it's it's not that big of it. Yeah, he's just sort of sitting there scanning as they're flying in. They've done it before as well, but it's always been an homage to A New Hope. Obviously.
Another Family Guy reference. I always think
Yeah,
of when Family Guy, pew pew, he shoots him. Yeah, he pretends he has a gun.
it's so funny. The only creatures I saw immediately was those big old dewbacks in the back. I call them dewbacks because they look kind of like a dewback from Tatooine, but they're more lanky and less tall. We never get like what they're called.
Way more creepy. When you add those like lanky legs to anything, it's a creep fest at that point.
Yeah, it looked a little creepy, but they obviously look like herbivores, and they didn't want really anything to do with these people.
Mando didn't seem scared of him.
No, and he has a conversation with the guard, which we found out his name later. That's another thing; they didn't give his name until later as well. But he lets him in because he's part of the guild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that whole thing was suspicious, though.
It was because he didn't show any identification, so it's really weird that they just let him in. I guess maybe they're expecting they don't want two enemies.
Although, honestly, who's going to doubt someone who shows up in Mandalorian armor like that? Like, to get that
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you knew something was up, though. That whole scene, the wall and with the gate closing was so ominous when it closed behind Mando. It's like, well, he has a jetpack, but this is not right. It's like what he's walking into is wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, we got
a great little shot.
He tries to ask questions to an older person while he's in there, but it seems that the magistrate is what they start calling her. Does not want anybody talking to the visitors talking to the villagers. Basically, do not talk to us because if you talk to us, we're gonna get in trouble. So move on.
He was asked to go to the magistrate. Guards came up to him and said,
"True, we didn't get to see him actually move on his own volition."
No, he didn't. Yeah, he was kind of forced to move on.
But I assume that he probably would have. But he heads up and he gets brought to the magistrate, like you said. They bring her to the magistrate, and they discuss some things. As we saw earlier, she has a Jedi problem, and she found her Jedi exterminator. One of the things I did with the Beskar spear, she's offering the Beskar spear basically if he brings her in or kills her,
which is the same as his armor.
Yeah, we find out around there that the head of the guard's name is Lang. They call him Lang once. But anyways.
Oh, I thought you guys knew like that meant something or.
No, it didn't mean anything. It's weird that they held that from us because it wasn't in the subtitles. Maybe they just cut that out entirely or something. But it took for a while to try to get his name.
Well, my thing was, so she offers him a Beskar spear.
Yeah.
Was making weapons out of Beskar a common practice, or did she just do that for funsies? I mean, like I've never seen a
I'm assuming it's supposed to be a relic of some kind.
All right,
is what I got.
So this is more of a relic than something she stole than something she had made.
Very possible. And
we learn later that she, like ransacks planets.
Well, yeah, but I just thought maybe she got a bunch of Beskar and then had a spear made.
She could have. I mean, that's a whole.
It is possible.
It is. It is like it is very possible. But I just assumed she found it or stole it or whatever.
I guess we all assume different things. I guess because I assumed it was like an artifact, but they never specify. So could be any of them.
Maybe it's not super important to the story.
To realize until later, but he never agrees with her, and that's one thing to notice, that he doesn't agree that he's going to do it. He just asks where's the Jedi, and I guess the magistrate just assumes that that's what he's going to do. Then
I think she assumed that the old hatred of the Jedi and the Mandalorians was enough to push him.
Yeah, the whole thing was not as shady as it turns out to be. They didn't really know who he was.
Yes,
or they did, and they just had to play along with the whole spiel that you just mentioned. Anyways, it's too deep.
Too deep. We're going down a real deep rabbit hole here. But anyways, so Mando goes out to the forest and looks for her, and then we get a really cool surprise fight scene with Ahsoka. It doesn't take too long before Mando finally says that he's with Bo-Katan, but I think it was enough that we got to see them fight a little bit. And that's when we found out that Beskar apparently lightsabers can't cut Beskar. I didn't know that, and now I know that. That's really interesting.
I always thought that was the thing because I thought that's
I
why
didn't know.
Beskar was so great.
No, I
that it
didn't
blocked
know.
lasers, period. Like lasers.
Yeah, but
Oh, well,
lasers
that
don't
would
shoot
make
through
sense.
doors.
Well, I thought it blocked like any form of laser style weaponry.
Well, it does. It clearly does.
Well, obviously it does. Yeah, obviously it does. But I thought it was cool that I found that out. I didn't know that, so that was really cool. So anyways, so they fight. There's like a draw. T says he's brought by Bo-Katan, and we get a little bit of training, and we get to learn between her talking to Baby Yoda the child's name, which has been a big controversy for people's liking it or disliking it, but it is
Really?
Grogu.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
some people do
Why
not
does
like
it matter? What do they want it to
It
be?
doesn't.
I
It
don't.
really doesn't.
What
I
were
just
you
know I keep seeing it.
expecting?
I think Grogu is
Yoda
a
the
fine,
Fourth, Yoda Junior.
and I think there's going to be tons of pets named Grogu now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
but that's just,
personally felt Grogu was a fine name for him. I loved the way that he responded once he heard his name.
yeah,
You
it
know,
was
Yeah.
his
very
little ears
lively.
go up. He
Lots
gets
of
all
times this
happy.
episode with the Baby Yoda, it's some really good emotions. So yeah, she tries to train him a little bit, but finds out that he doesn't want to. Basically, she finds out he has a pretty rough past. He was raised on Coruscant at the Jedi Temple and was kidnapped. But after that, it's foggy. She
Well,
has no idea what happened to him.
She says kidnapped.
She says kidnapped. Yes,
really,
She
because
does.
what I got was that
yes,
he was
because he was taken from it,
the
and there was something
temple
that happened.
during the purge. I got
Yes,
that he was taken from the temple during the purge, like he was escaped, like
I
someone's.
thought she said he was hidden, and
Yeah.
then from there on out,
yes, he
it
was
just
hidden.
someone
From what
took
I
him.
got, that he was hidden, and then somebody took him.
Well, see, to
And
me,
it didn't
that's a
sound
big
like a
point,
good
though.
thing.
Like to me,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big point that you didn't mention was like, well, he was
Oh, I
hidden,
thought I
which
did that.
means no, you just
Yeah.
said he was kidnapped.
Oh, okay. Okay, I guess he was okay. So he was hidden. Yeah, he was hidden, and then he it sounded like he was kidnapped. I don't know. That's what I got from it.
I thought
Between
to me
then and
it sounded like someone took him
Yeah,
and
saved
took
him.
care of him, and then
And then
maybe along the
died.
way, that's how. Yeah, and then through all that, basically just went into like remission because he wasn't
Well, somebody
using the powers.
kidnapped him because
I-
in the first season we saw him being rescued by like this weird mob of mercenaries.
Right, that's what we're getting at. But there's more to the story.
Well-
That his backstory
Oh yeah, there's a
is
ton
very
more to the
important.
story. Yeah, there's a
What-
ton more to the story that we don't know.
One thing.
That's what we're getting at. We're speculating.
One
Okay,
thing.
all right.
One thing though that I think was pretty clear to all of us, though, was
What's up?
she says that he was being trained in the temple before
Yeah.
It's true.
the purge.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he was a youngling when Anakin came in, and so someone
I did think of that scene.
so someone hid him from Anakin.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Really?
Now,
That's
granted, those were not all the youngling. Like there was a lot of there's there, but there's more. I mean,
Oh, I
that was
thought he
all of it.
told the Emperor that he killed them all.
well, he killed
killed
everything
everybody
in that temple.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's clearly there was probably some out on training missions, on other planets, that weren't involved
Yeah.
with the war, and so
And as we know from a lot of video games, there are other temples, maybe not as big as Coruscant, but bigger temples that you can be trained at. And
from the old
work at.
Republic. Oh,
yeah, like the Old Republic and Dantooine.
I'm just.
I was under the impression that Luke killed all the younglings Yoda's age there at the temple because Yoda wouldn't have been old enough to be off on a mission or something like that. Like,
No,
Baby Yoda.
there is I'm
Yeah.
not dismissing you entirely. There is a possibility that someone got wind and then took him before then, but I feel
I could
odds
have
are is
swore.
he may have been being trained in a different area, and then it started, and then some people escaped. That's
Yeah.
what
I
I
could have
assume.
swore she specifically said he was hidden during that.
Oh, okay, I got you. I didn't catch. I guess I didn't put that together. But I guess he could have been hit. But I guess there could have been some sort of inside. Somebody kind of knew ahead of time and then hid him specifically. I mean, he's obviously a big deal. Yeah,
But
he's
either way,
obviously a
what
big
we
deal.
do know is that after that, somehow he got split up from whoever helped him or kidnapped by somebody else, and then he stopped using his powers. It said or something like
That's
that.
right.
Like,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
used to use them.
To survive, he had to hide them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyways, like he fears using his power. He knows what that can bring. He knows what happens when he does.
I'm on the same page with you, though. It's almost the same thing as
Either
when
way, it's still fear. Yeah.
he's afraid to use his powers because when he does, he loses people, and it's that he
Yeah,
doesn't want to lose
okay.
Mando. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
It also goes the same lines as why Jedi are afraid of relationships,
Well,
or being too attached to
they're
people
not afraid of
because
them.
fear is a
They're
problem.
just
Well, they avoid attachments to avoid the fear of losing somebody and using, as Anakin did, making rash decisions
supposed.
based off of your worry of somebody
It's
else.
supposed to be like a Catholic priest, right? They're not,
Yes,
or
similar.
other religious leaders who don't marry because the attachment distracts them from the connection with God, and so that's kind of the deal. Like love will distract them from using the Force, and then it turns, and like in real life, it
Yes.
turns evil. But we don't need to go down that road.
I actually thought it was a bit. I actually have always felt that Jedi weren't allowed to have attachments because if their attachment died, the revenge that they could wreak with their powers would be.
Yeah, I think that's the
untold.
same concept we're going off of. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
basically,
Well,
yeah.
have
It-
you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis?
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right.
Yeah.
So I think we have a lot of good ideas, but basically, Gorgu is afraid of what they don't specify, but we have a lot of theories.
Yeah.
We move on, and basically, Ahsoka says implies with Mando that if he helps her, she will train Gorgu. So we get a really cool scene, and this is where, as we head back to the town, this is where I want to bring this up. Number one, Dave Filoni directed and wrote this episode, which is amazing. He was a lot of the big inspiration and worker on Clone Wars and Rebels. But what I really liked about this is the different styles of cinematography. Whenever we see Mando go into the town, there's a definite Western cowboy style.
Oh yeah,
Whenever
it
you
was
see
heavy.
whenever you see Ahsoka go in the town, it's a very light samurai-esque look. Like
Samurai,
she has a
yeah.
very different walk, a different feeling, a different vibe as she's in the town. It's
Mhm.
almost night and day, even though the scenery is almost exactly the same. Just the cinematography is done so well, and the acting is done so well that it feels like a totally different experience.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys got it.
They did it. They combined those two things, jumping to the fight scene, right?
Yeah,
Ahsoka Tano fights the magistrate in a very samurai-esque
Mhm.
kind of way, as well as Mando having
that little
oh gosh,
draw with them.
A straight
yeah,
up Western duel on
the
the other
duel,
side.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
at
It's
the same
very
time.
I did really like it because you see Ahsoka moves like a Jedi. She moves with speed. She wants to close the gap. She She wants to get in your face. That's how she fights.
And I liked how she let
Mando,
that guy go at the beginning too, how she pulls the weapon from him, and as soon as he
yeah.
raises his hands, he just
Oh
leaves
yeah,
and she just lets him go.
I
Basically, if
didn't.
you're not
I
gonna
mean,
fight me, I'm not gonna fight you.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I love how, so you see her fighting style is all about deception, getting in close, finding that area where one versus many doesn't hinder her. Whereas Mando is someone who likes to keep just that distance. Getting in close could be bad for him, I mean,
Right.
like,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It was a really another great scene where they kind of work together. And the part that stood out to me the most was when she broke that bell, that the alarm bell that they were ringing, and she slices it in half. It's just a great symbol of just like, look, your reign is over. I'm coming in.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take it back.
So here's my thing, though. Maybe you guys can tell me, why this seems to happen. She never deflects a blaster shot back into
Yeah.
someone.
Oh, back at someone.
Yeah, she
Uh,
reflects them, but she never does it back at
so
someone.
what? How many times has that happened? I'm trying to think. Just
Well, I
like
mean, in
off
the
the,
movies, it shows it pretty consecutively. Like, at least every third shot gets put
I
back
will
in
say
someone.
whenever you see it happen in the movies, it's done very differently, where they actually stop and they focus and do it. Whereas they're
yeah.
not running away, just reflecting them back with ease. It
But
always
So
is
even
I
like
when
some
but even when she
concentration.
was walking up to that one guard, the very last guard in the very beginning, she's walking straight for him and she just do it to the side, do it to the side, do it to the side.
So I think I love that you bring this up, and I think Alan's like onto something about like she's gonna wait till the very last second to kill someone if she doesn't have to. You know what I mean? Like she is if she's just gonna deflect the bullet back, that is more cold blooded than like giving the guy a chance to surrender. To the very last second, like you said, darting back and forth, like, hey. Every chance I come forward at you, you have a chance to surrender. Give up, give up. Okay, I have to do what I have to do. I think that speaks to her character a lot. And at the same time, she deflects some blaster bullets, but usually it's pretty, other than like that one-on-one time you were talking about, they're pretty heavy fire, which is, I would think, takes way too much concentration to just deflect it back. And she's not in the middle of a war, so she's not like super keen on her powers, is my guess. Going back to like how trained up is she? Maybe not as powerful as she could be or was. So there's my 2 cents.
Yeah, one of the big things she learns and it grows in the Clone Wars is she learns she doesn't like war. She doesn't like killing. She doesn't like doing that, which is part of the reason why she leaves the Jedi Order. So this is kind of reflected on that. If you think about it, she's not there to slaughter. She's there she has a very specific goal.
She does
That's
slaughter a
the way
lot of guys.
she
Like,
does, but I think that's because they fight back. I'm just being very yeah. But anyways, that's what I would think about that.
yeah.
All right,
Unless you have
yeah.
any more. But anyways, so we have this battle on the streets beforehand before we get to the duels. But the duels are cool as well. I don't need to go in very specifics. One thing I noticed in this time that I did not notice last time, or I did notice last time, but not this time, is last time I remember the subtitles being different to where they actually showed the names, and this time it didn't. So I don't know if they changed it. And very specifically, I noticed is when those robots that is holding the spear and then comes out and chases them and climbs up the buildings and stuff like that, when they
Yeah.
spoke for their name was HK-87. Now, Kyle, you know a specific droid named
Yeah.
HK-47 who was in
47. Yeah.
SWAT. Yeah. So I just thought that was a really weird callback. But when I watched the second time, I didn't see anything acknowledging it. So I
Oh,
don't know why or what happened.
you mean that actually got changed?
The second time,
Yeah.
all I saw,
Huh.
I didn't register it the first time, so I don't know what I saw the first time, but I do remember what I saw the second time. And what I saw the second time was just alien language.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did say that,
Yeah.
but didn't say. I think the first time it said HK-87, and that's what it said. But
Well, yeah,
anyways,
that would make sense because those droids seem to be. I mean, they really didn't do much. to be honest. But they were
Yeah.
they were a little bit more scary. They built them up like they were more scary kill droids than your
Yeah.
average. They seemed well. I guess they did. They fared better than like the regular,
Yes. They
goons they
definitely were
had running around.
better, but they definitely weren't HK-47. That's for certain.
No, HK-47 had a personality.
Yes, I
Too,
was
like,
waiting when I first saw it. When I first saw the HK-87, I was waiting. I was like, "Come on, say meatbag. Just say it once.
meatbag.
I want to hear you say meatbag. It'll make so many people happy." But, but I
I
just
think, yeah, I'm
obviously
glad they
didn't
did it
happen.
though. I'm glad they didn't
Yeah,
because
it
it's
would have
like
been
at this
corny.
point, there's a lot of callbacks and a lot of nostalgia. You don't got to overdo it though. At the same time, So yeah, if you think it would have been corny, it would have been.
Yes, it probably would have been very corny, but it would have been really cool at the same time. Mixed bag. Another thing I saw while running through the streets is Loth Cats. Loth Cats were from Rebels.
Yeah,
They
I
were
saw
running
that.
Yeah, they've been shown before.
In the show
in
in
Rebels.
Mando?
No, in
Not
Mando,
in
they've
Mando.
had them before. Yeah.
Where?
Oh man, I believe.
Link, send me a link,
I
dude. Send me the link
all
right
right.
now.
I'll probably.
All right. Anyways, okay. So
I'm just kidding.
whether
Don't.
or not they were there. That was
They
cool.
made a point of showing them in this one for sure.
Yes, and they actually really showed like the whole like it actually hissed at somebody, which was interesting.
Yeah.
So we get our big reveal, which Ahsoka beats the man's magistrate
Magistrate.
Morgan Elstra, which is her name. But anyways,
Yeah.
she defeats her and she gives her the name of her leader, which was a big drop as Grand Admiral Thrawn. Pretty big name to be in a little show like Mandalorian.
Big name drop right there. Just y'all just gonna drop that name right there. You think you're that cool? You think you could just
This man has 2 trilogies, one
Yep.
pre Disney canon and another remade for Disney canon because of how popular the character is. He also was one of the main antagonists in Rebels. This is a big deal.
Very big deal. Very blue. Very big deal.
Very smart.
Yes. So we go
What'd
through
you
that.
say, Tomas? Sorry.
I said he's very smart. He's on a level like Caesar or Barca.
Yeah, strategist,
Yeah.
man. Just like can't wait to see. I'm excited. I'll just say that I'm excited.
So we finished that up. Mando gets the spear as Ahsoka gives it to him before they leave. She confirms or restates that she will not teach Gorgu, but if they go to Tython and go to the temple ruin with a strong force of connection, and they place Gorgu
top of the mountain
on the seeing stone on the top of the mountain, Gorgu will then decide and possibly find a master. So he has to decide if he wants to be trained, and then they will potentially find a master. Now I know we have lots of theories, and so I wanted to go over the theories. Do you have something else to say before we continue?
It's on that note. I don't really have too many theories. I'm just gonna wait it out. I mean, I'll throw mine in the hat right now, if I may. My theory is that that we will get a Luke cameo. I think.
Yeah, I have seen a couple Luke like mock-ups of people from making.
Not that he trains him or finds him out, but we get a cameo that he senses him. That's it. That's my.
Okay, I see that.
But my thing was before they even landed, I wrote this down. I was like, does Ahsoka not feel Baby Yoda landing on the planet? Like, does she not already know? And then she does explain it. She does explain it though, that he has detached from the Force.
Yes,
so she probably wouldn't feel him, and now he has to go and send out his vibes to the universe, and then so I was like, okay, good, you explained it, because that to me was like, she would know if another Force user was in the area, and I mean she kind of does. She does attack him, at least Mando, and so she knew at least. But yeah, they answered it, and I was, again, kudos to the show for doing that.
Yeah. If I was going to, as I know Tomas has 2 theories, so I'm going to take one of the theories because I'm pretty sure it's the same one I have. I'm assuming they're talking about Ezra Bridger, And my main
Oh,
reason
yeah.
for this is because not only did him and Grand Admiral Thrawn disappear at the same time, which makes complete sense that they would be
Oh boy.
they would if the he came back, Ezra came back. That makes complete sense.
Oh
Another
boy.
thing is the Loth Cat. I know this is a really hard one. The Loth Cat. The thing about a Loth Cat is they're from Lothal. Lothal is Ezra Bridger's home planet. So I think that is a strong hint from Dave Filoni of who we're going to be getting in the future.
That would be that would make the most sense so far.
So I'm not sure who you were thinking
Well,
besides him. Because I'm assuming that was one of yours.
the Loth Cat, of course, yes. Like with this is, although there is another episode with the Loth Cat, and I believe it's with the Marshall episode where they kill the crate dragon, when the kid's just walking there next to Mando or something. The cat like hisses at him or something. But anyways, that aside, you have seen Loth Cats throughout the episodes, number one. So I agree with you on that.
Okay, you're being a little bit okay. Throughout the episode, not episodes.
Well, there is more than one episode that has it. I know that.
Okay, but anyways, you just were making it sound like they're like all over the place. But
well, there has been other ones, but what I'm saying is, so you have seen them, so it's a good assumption that yes, these are referring to Ezra Bridgers. The one problem and the one difficulty that I see with that is Ezra Bridgers is, if not as much as a Padawan as Ahsoka, he's more of a Padawan. He's learned less. He has amazing potential. Well, yeah, he does, because he learned from Jarrus, and Jarrus himself wasn't a full-fledged knight. Ahsoka learned from Anakin, who was a full-fledged knight. I'm pretty sure I can say
who did he learn from?
Ahsoka.
Wait, say that again.
Bridges.
Who learned?
Bridges.
Skywalker. Who did Luke Skywalker learn from?
Yoda.
He became a esteemed Jedi.
Yoda. But
for how long?
But Bridges did not work with Yoda.
Well, legend has it that it was he was trained by Yoda.
If that's the case, we could go to Force Ghosts, but we're not going to dig around that one.
Anyways, my argument is that Bridges was never trained by a full-fledged Jedi, whereas Ahsoka was. So in my opinion, Ahsoka has more knowledge of how the Force works than Bridges does. So if Ahsoka
I would agree with that.
So if Ahsoka,
I agree with that too.
So if Ahsoka is unwilling to train the child, I feel like Bridges is going to have even a harder time at it than she would.
I disagree. Well, I was just going to say that the point you made about Bridger not knowing the Jedi way as much could lead to him wanting to train the Baby Yoda because he doesn't know as much, or he doesn't know the code, or he wasn't firsthand when Anakin fell, like Ahsoka was. He didn't get that up and personal like Ahsoka was. So maybe he's like, oh, I'll do it.
As we saw in Rebels, Ezra learned way more liberally than most people at the Jedi Temple. It would be easy, just like Luke, it would be easy for him to do something because they feel it's right, not with the Jedi Order because they didn't learn from them.
Well, my argument to that would be Luke was always hesitant to train other people because he felt like he didn't know what he was training them. And I feel like that could be the same thing that happens to Bridges because he doesn't really know how to train anyone. He's never done.
But Luke did train people, and look what happened.
Eventually, it took a long time for him to do it, though.
But look what happened too.
Ezra Bridger's been gone for quite a while as well.
Yeah, but he's been stuck in hyperspace with Thrawn for quite a while.
Anyways,
no idea what happened to them. But anyways, okay.
This
so you
is
don't
all
think
pure speculation.
Yeah, you don't think he is because you don't think he is. He knows enough to train somebody. Okay.
Well, no, not that it's just. I think that's one of the things. Yeah, he doesn't have enough access to actually train someone, and I also believe because he- I believe that also it won't be him because she is looking for him, and Mando and the baby have their own little story going on, and I feel like finding Thrawn is going to take X amount of time, and by that time, they will have already found a teacher for him. I think Ezra will come into it, and Ezra might help teach, but I don't think Ezra is going to be the main teacher.
Yeah, I honestly thought I guess my other theory or my one theory is that they're just going to make up a Jedi. Like that's honestly what I thought was that they're just going to make up a Jedi because she said there aren't many Jedi left, meaning if there's a few Jedi out there, so why not? And I have another point to that, but I don't want to go to that until we're done with the theory.
But what? I thought you had somebody else. I didn't know you were going for Ahsoka. I don't think Ahsoka's
Oh
going to
no,
train him at all.
I didn't. I
personally.
didn't think it was Ahsoka either. I did have someone else, but
Oh,
yeah,
you did
I
have
did
somebody
have
else.
someone else.
Okay.
I just wanted Kyle to have a chance to put in on Bridges.
Okay, well, who's your other person that you?
The
that
other
you think
person,
come out of nowhere?
no one's gonna like me for saying this, but
If you say it,
but it's because
kill right
because of what Ahsoka tells Mando about the child's emotions. But I think it's gonna be Windu.
Oh God, get out of here! Get out!
I hope not.
Windu's dead, boy.
He better be dead.
Yeah, there's
Unless-
two reasons why I disagree with you. Number one, he's dead. Yes,
just like
they've
Boba
brought people
was
back in the
right?
past because this is a comic book universe.
Like who?
Yeah,
Who'd
just
you
like
say,
Boba.
Thomas?
Very possible. Boba.
And Darth Maul.
And Darth Maul. But so that was my first one. Number one is that. Number two, there ain't no way they paying Samuel L. Jackson to come on. So unless they found a replacement for him,
you don't think so?
Yeah, I don't think they would.
When was the last time Samuel L. Jackson had a very
wasn't in a movie?
Exactly.
No, when
like always
but
in movies.
I know. Think of the last few movies he's been in. What company has he been working for?
Yeah, I was going to say
exactly.
Marvel with Jon Favreau.
Exactly.
Like, I think they could get him, but I think that would be a bad move story wise because, like you said, Alan, they already brought back Boba. It's like we don't just need to literally be digging up the graves to make a good show. The first season didn't do it. We don't need it.
I hate when they brought back the Emperor. I hate it when they brought back Boba. Don't get me wrong, he's fine. But honestly,
but we haven't even seen him yet. We haven't even seen him yet. Technically,
sorry,
like
I kind of mean more in Legends. Because it's the whole thing where they brought him back. I hated that.
Yeah. I got you.
Bring all that back. I hate this constant. Oh, they're dead. No, they're not. Because it completely destroys any sense of danger if anybody can just come back all willy nilly.
Harkens to Superman vibes, where Superman died and it was like, no.
Here's why I think it could and possibly will be Windu. First of all, I think it was Windu that got Yoda out of there. I mean, Baby Yoda out of there. Because someone saved Yoda from the Purge. Who was the only person that knew what the heck was going to happen after who had just fought the Emperor?
Tons of Jedi that are off screen that we don't know about.
No, because Windu
I thought
Luke change. He saw it happen. Anakin change. He saw it happen. He knew that Anakin had changed. There was no question in his mind. When he cut off his hand.
But then he immediately died.
Didn't die though. That's the thing.
No.
So, anyways.
All right, we're going off topic here.
Hold on. I had 2 points.
Oh my goodness.
Right, no, it's all good.
Your theory is just
it's fine.
Your theory was destroyed with he's not dead though.
There's been a lot of speculation about him living. He's lost a hand. How many people lost a hand? How many people lost a hand? Luke, The Emperor.
Yeah, but how many people thrown off of
A
a
ton.
building?
We saw it happen to
with
Kylo
Forrest
Ren
lightning.
just recently.
All right.
I don't
So,
remember.
Kylo Ren gets
all
shoved
right,
off a
we're just gonna
cliff.
go back away from that one. We're gonna back with that one, that crazy theory.
I just hope it's
if
not.
Mace
I would be.
Windu,
I
I
would be
would
really disappointed.
probably, yes, I would be completely disappointed, and it would be another Hail Mary, Rise of Skywalker crap.
I
But anyways,
totally agree.
I think they.
I could see what
I
you're getting
think-
at, Tomas.
I think they could do it well.
which
I
we
think they could do it well, and I think you guys are just
I disagree
so
with that,
hating.
but I can.
But it's all good.
No. Here's what we're coming from. We were burned by the Palpatine, the Gucci Palp rebirth, and I, as much as I love Darth Maul, I don't really care that he was brought back. To be honest, I think it was unnecessary because
I'm fine with
Savage,
it, but
his brother, was awesome. Like, and he got put in the shadows. Like, you could have just made Oppress the main guy, and anyways, that's where I could see where you like your theory's cool. Like, it could work. We shut it down anyways, but
There's a whole nother part.
what I will give you. What did you go with the other part? Is that going to take long?
Well, no, the other part was that Ahsoka knew that Mace Windu tapped into both light and dark side when he fought, and he was the only Jedi that did. And so if anyone could teach Grogu how to tap into both senses, it would be Windu.
My only argument against that is that most Jedi can't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it is
know,
not.
but Windu could.
yeah, but that's why he's saying. That's
No,
why he
the
said
reason they
Window
did
would
it
do
is
it.
it's super dangerous, and a lot of people who worked with Windu that also did the same eventually turned.
Yeah, I know. So my point is
Yeah,
that Windu was the one that proved
People Windu trained turned is what I'm saying.
Anyways,
But anyways,
you both have good points, and I think Tomas has a really good point.
Yes, you're making decent points. I just really don't want that to happen because I'm with Kyle. Ezra Bridger makes a lot of sense just because it's also Dave Filoni, and Ezra Bridger is one of Dave Filoni's babies. It's connected with Thrawn, and we know he's not dead. But all I was saying to end that whole segment of Jedi speculation of who it possibly could be is I'd prefer a unique new Jedi, or I'd prefer, and actually my one thing is I'm thinking they may do is there may not be a Jedi because Mandalorian without Grogu may not be. They may want to keep him just because he's great advertisement and great merchandising. But that's real.
Well,
I mean,
what stops Mando from staying
I
with
think
him while he trains?
From what?
Because I don't think Mando would stay with him while he trains because he had other stuff to do.
Oh, because then his. I mean, it could go both ways. So by creed, he's supposed to finish the quest, but now he's attached. Yeah, like you're saying, like he's changed. His character has changed. His belief system has
But he's
changed.
been willing to leave him multiple times already. Like he was willing to leave with Ahsoka.
Look how long it took him to take him to Ahsoka, though. It took him.
He didn't take him to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
She came to him.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a really good point, though. Like, and so I agree with you, though, Alan.
I don't think he's getting out of the show.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, we're gonna end on this. But why don't we do ratings real quick? Because we all obviously love this episode, I'm thinking. So I'm starting to have a speculation of what people are going to give it. So Kyle, why don't you give us your rating first for Chapter 13, The
Jedi? This one to me was actually not as good as the previous episode as far as Mandalorian terms. I don't think I have as big of a attachment to Ahsoka as maybe you guys do, as others do, but fantastic episode. The way they did are great. I give it a 9.
Tomas, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to give this one a big old 10. I loved watching Ahsoka with the bounty hunter. To me, it was just like watching Bo-Katan. I and also, as we just saw, this episode just brought tons of theories that are just so fun to debate and like try and figure out. So I love doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I agree. It's 10. I'm a huge sucker for Jedi stuff, and we haven't got any Jedi stuff in The Mandalorian. Not that we should have. I actually really enjoy that there's not a lot of Jedi stuff because we get that underbelly of the world, the fringe side of the galaxy that we don't get to see as often in the movies. But just seeing Ahsoka with lightsabers and seeing lightsabers fighting, it sounded great. It felt great. Everything about it, I just loved. I love this episode. I love that character. Ahsoka's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars lore. Uh, so this whole episode was just amazing. When Thrawn's name came out, I know they've done that a couple times with a name at the end, like Ahsoka, and now Thrawn. But just Grand Admiral Thrawn, like Tomas just said, just my mind was racing with theories and ideas because there's just if that's happening, if that has happened, there's so much potential of what's going to happen. So yeah, 10 out of 10, definitely, for sure. So I think that's it for today. But if we got any more, I know we had a couple. You had a little topic you want to talk about, Kyle, at the end. But why don't you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make it quick. So I'm actually mad about this episode, and here's why. This was one of the best done, most fun, like both you guys said, Jedi action sequences than any of the 3 sequel movies ever put together. And I'm mad because the budget for those movies was astronomical compared to this little TV show called Mandalorian, even though it probably has a pretty big budget now, like we talked about in season 2. But the way they portrayed this Jedi and did homage to a cartoon show, bringing her to like live action, was like beyond any of the sequel movies ever did. I'm mad about that because it's like, why was that care and time not put into the movies that I paid to go see 3 times? And I like Force Awakens, but the way they went with it is crazy. But the other thing, I'm just mad about that. I'll get over it. Not a big deal. The other thing is, the reason I didn't give it a 10 was because what you said, Alan. It's called The Mandalorian. It's not called The Jedi. And if this is all we get from The Jedi, perfect, great. We don't need much, maybe another episode with Ahsoka again. But I'm fearful that The Mandalorian is just going to turn into, let's dig up these characters, which are cool. I like Thrawn, I like Ahsoka, I want to see them in live action and great. But this is the reason I like Mandalorian is because, like you said, it was so different, and I'm just a little fearful from seeing this. Like, okay, where's it heading? It could go either way, and right now it's amazing. And if they just dig up characters, I mean, if they bring Windu back, I'm done. I'll just say that right now. I'll be done. So
yeah, I don't know if I'd be done because I love Star Wars, but
yeah, I won't
would
either. But
put a huge damper on it. I understand where you're coming from, but I think they're using the Mandalorian to be the tree trunk of the tree. There's already talk of Ahsoka getting her own show, with
that would be fine.
potentially involved. So
that
it
would be
sounds like
wonderful.
Mandalorian may meet some people, and we go, "Hey, that guy's from such and such," and then they will either get their own show, they'll get a spin-off, or maybe they'll just float between shows. They won't be like a primary person, which would all be really cool, honestly. As long as they don't pile it up too heavily. Don't do CW with Flash and all those where you have about 5 shows on at the same time. Give me a show a year or 2 shows a year max.
You think we wanted that, but it was too much. It was too much. You're right.
It's too much.
Too much. I thought I wanted it, but I haven't even finished any of those.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. I stopped watching them as well. Even the Netflix ones got a little much. But it's just, do them well and space them out. That's all I say.
Space them out. Yeah.
All right. So we've laid out all we want to say. Probably not all we want to say, but a chunk of it. And we're gonna come back in 2 weeks to finish it up, or not finish it up, but do the next 2 episodes. And this coming week, we're going to have our first Nerd BS we've had in almost a month now,
It'll be
since
a
we took our
month.
break from Thanksgiving. So that'll be fun. So join us next week for our Nerd BS episode. And feel free to join me on Twitter, nerd_BS or SCAD Matrix. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. We love doing this, and we just want to have more people to interact with on our Discord. All right, we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
See you guys later.